Welcome back to the Out of Bounds podcast. I'm Gavin Williams alongside
Charlie Calieri.
And today, it is the NFL draft and one of the biggest days of the year for the offseason, including free agency trades, whatever.
But one of the best days of the sporting year.
Yeah, this is a fan favorite. It's in a fan favorite town this year in Green Bay, Wisconsin. They're loving it. Players are loving it. People are loving it. Everybody's loving it. It's draft day. Come on.
I got to ask you, well, first of all, happy draft day.
Happy draft day.
NBA playoffs are going amazing. The NHL playoffs are going amazing. But how do you feel that the draft is in your city, city, I guess, in a way, your team city? How do you feel about that?
No, it's a first for me. I mean, I never seen it before. It's always somewhere bougie, like Vegas, New Orleans, like nice, but like, hey, bring it on.
It was in Cleveland a few years ago.
Yeah, bring it on to a little old town in Green Bay. Let the small town community rally on this one, and a lot of people's driveways will be a lot of people will be getting paid for their driveway use.
Yeah,
and
an extra day out of it.
Good for the economy for Green Bay, Wisconsin. So no, I think it's really cool, and I just can't wait to see. Because it's right outside, right next door to Lambeau. Yeah. So I think that's really cool.
It's going to be a really cool scene. I think the Bills put in a bid for a future draft. I think it's 27.
I think I saw that as well.
I think that's the one that we're going for. So the second year that we have the new stadium, I can see that being a really cool, venue as well. Maybe when they knock down, 100%.
Yeah.
Me and my dad were going to go to Cleveland, but we kind of decided against that because we were picking too late. And good thing we didn't, because I think we drafted out of that first round.
Ooh, so, that would have been miserable.
Yeah, that would have been terrible. But anyway, I think that maybe when they knock down the old stadium, whatever they do in that parking lot, that big space, maybe that's the spot for the draft.
Easily could be.
Yeah, but really cool. It's in Green Bay. I like that they took a shot with Green Bay.
Why not?
It is kind of a risk, but it's a cool thing that they did this year. But anyway, the Tennessee Titans are on the clock.
They are. They've been on the clock for a long time.
Been on the clock for a while, ever since January, beginning of January. So they should know who they're going to take, but they're probably going to take 10 minutes.
Yeah,
start of the draft, like they always do.
That sucks.
And Gavin and I today will be looking at 3 or 4 different mock drafts. I have 2 pulled up right here.
I also have 2.
Bleacher Report and Yahoo Sports.
And I got CBS Sports and NFL.com.
So we're covering most of our bases. No ESPN.
Not today.
No ESPN. Not
today. We give them enough coverage.
Yeah, we give ESPN enough love, man. Come on. But yeah, we're going to be looking at these mock drafts, just comparing them, see where they differ in our reactions to them, I guess. Yeah. So let's get right into it. Tennessee, for my Bleacher Report article by Brent Sobleski.
Brent Rumble.
Shout out, Brent Sobleski. In my Yahoo Sports article by Nate Tice and Charles McDonald. Shout out, Charles.
Hey.
They are the guys that I'm going to be referencing here. And they both have the Tennessee Titans taking Cam Ward from Miami, quarterback, first overall in this draft.
Yeah, I also have both of mine. NFL.com is Lance Zierlein. Hope I'm saying that right. And then Ryan Wilson for CBS.
Shout out.
They both have Cam Ward. And I think Wilson put this absolutely perfect. He said this has been a done deal for weeks. The Titans need a QB. Ward's QB1.
Yeah.
Short, simple,
there
sweet.
You go. I mean, Will Levis as your backup. That's a decent backup to have.
I honestly think they can get a good trade package for him.
They could. They might be this weekend. We might see Will Levis on a different team by the end of this weekend. That's something to watch out for too. I didn't think about that. They did just sign Tyler Lockett. Last night, which is a big move.
So they're trying.
They are, and they've been trying. They're not going to beat their retirement home allegations.
Nope.
Because they definitely are. I mean, Julio. I mean, you've seen it. Julio, D-Hop, now Tyler Lockett.
Yeah.
Those wide receivers just kind of go through that place. But let's move on to Cleveland. Now that's kind of a done deal. Cam Ward to Tennessee. I'd be shocked if it's anything else. But second pick, both of my guys, Bleacher Report and Yahoo Sports, both have Travis Hunter going to Cleveland.
Yeah, both my guys do too. I didn't think that this was such a done deal as it's saying right now.
Me neither.
I thought that Travis had the opportunity to fall to 5 or 6, just to see what Cleveland would do if they wanted to go get Abdul Carter to bolster up that D line with Myles Garrett, which I wouldn't be surprised if they did. But I think it is the right move trying to get Travis Hunter in that city to try to give him a nice two-way, defensive
two-way
offense.
threat. Yeah, I think especially because you re-sign Myles Garrett. My mind immediately went to, pair him up with the Abdul Carter for the next 4 years. I mean, they're both going to be on 4-year deals, I guess, in a way. And yeah, that would just be a deadly duo for the Cleveland Browns. But I totally get you need an offensive guy. They don't really have anybody right now on the offense.
Especially wide receiver position.
Especially wide receiver, you're right. And I think Cleveland is going to be one of those teams that might allow Travis Hunter to play both sides of the ball. They have the opportunity on the roster. They have the roster spots. They have the lack of talent, I guess, now on that team. And I think Travis Hunter could go into Cleveland and really be a star for the Browns in that city.
I do too.
I think that could be a really good fit, but I could also see Abdul Carter being a good fit as well.
No, yeah. So. But with Travis Hunter, he was saying in an interview that he wouldn't want to play in the NFL if he didn't get to play both ways, which like I get because, I mean, everybody's calling him stupid, dumb, but like, he did at the highest level of Division I football. I mean, SEC's highest level. But
I think a team, whoever drafts him, should let him do it.
At least try.
If he doesn't work out, I mean, at least you tried it.
Yeah.
At least you tried. I mean, literally for the Cleveland Browns next season, they're not going to be good.
No,
the worst thing that can happen is that he's a bad corner or a bad wide receiver, and he's good at the other thing.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
yeah. I mean, it should
one
be
thing's got to work out.
It should be a lock for at least one side of the ball.
Right. So that's kind of, I think, the value there of why Cleveland might want to go get there, because they might be thinking, hey, we don't want to be at the number 2 pick again. Let's go just get the best guy available.
Yep.
And let's go and let's try to make a playoff push again. But so that's Cleveland. Moving on now to the New York Giants, who are really all over the board here.
Yeah.
They need a lot of things. Offensive line, defensive line, running back, quarterback. The list goes on.
Everything.
The list goes on. But Bleacher Report has the New York Giants taking Abdul Carter. And surprisingly, Yahoo has them taking Armand Mabou, the O-tackle from Missouri.
He's solid.
Yeah, so 2 different picks right there on different sides of the ball.
Both my mock drafts have Abdul Carter. I agree that I would think that he would fit well there, obviously. That defense is really good. But I don't think that – I don't want to shame Abdul Carter because I think he's one of the best, if not the best prospect coming into this draft.
I agree.
And I think he is a first overall in a lot of other drafts. But I don't necessarily think the Giants need him as much as he needs to be on another team. I think that if he goes to another team, maybe like the Patriots, they could really use him. But like the Giants already have a good defense, but I mean, I get it. Just bolster up the defense.
Once again, it's one of those years where, positionally it might not be it's pretty, I guess, fruitful is a good word for it. Like there's a lot of positions that are high end this year, and it's honestly best player available. It might be this year.
I think
for
so.
a lot of the picks.
Yeah.
And moving on now to the Patriots, it's kind of in that ballpark right there. Don't need a quarterback. Another thing, not a quarterback heavy draft this year too.
No,
which I think are always the more fun ones.
No, they are more fun.
They're not as chalk. I mean, you get down into the later picks and you really have no clue what's going to go on when you get to around the 20s.
Yeah.
So it's really fun. But at 4 here for the New England Patriots, they're hoping not to be in this spot again next year.
Yeah.
And for them, Bleacher Report has them going out and getting who I think they should get, Will Campbell, O-tackle from LSU. Yahoo has them going and get Abdul Carter. If he's still on the board, which totally makes sense if he's still there.
Oh, yeah. Are you kidding me? I mean, both these mock drafts also have Will Campbell for me. I think Will Campbell will be outstanding there. Little shout out. You got to give a shout out real quick to Mike Vrabel and Robert Kraft. They were in TD Garden last night when seeing Game 2 of the first round in the Eastern Conference playoffs for the Boston Celtics.
Trying to relax a little bit before
I told
a stressful day.
I was saying that to my friend. I'm like, you know what's awesome? They could be in the war room. They could be anywhere right now. They're in Boston. They're representing the city.
Yeah.
And they were enjoying it.
That's great.
They sure were.
That's great. I mean, I hate those guys, but I mean, great for the Pats, great for Boston, I guess. Moving on now to down south. We're going to Jacksonville.
I think this is where it starts to change with the mock drafts.
I think so too, and this is a team where another team, by far the best team in the top 5, I think. Talent-wise.
No, I agree.
They don't want to be in the spot next year after being in the playoffs the season before.
And
really
winning a playoff
disappointing
game.
year with some injuries. And they're trying to get back there next year. Bleacher
100%.
Report has them taking Ashton Jeanty from Boise State, fitting right in there, probably going with the Tank Bigsby, Ashton Jeanty backfield right there,
that'd be
which
solid.
would be really solid. And then Yahoo has them taking Mason Graham from Michigan. So
that's a solid.
I like that pick a lot. But I could see both of those really working out for them.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Mason Graham one a lot, actually. I didn't even think about that. But for my 2, one of them, the NFL.com has Genty going, and I would like that. I mean,
it's gained a lot of traction in the last few days.
He's really gone up 10 overall picks in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, not to say that he's not worth it,
No,
but,
he is.
but it's just the positional value. I think the Jags were like, hey, this is a guy we can go out and get, and we're not going to be in this spot, and we want to get in front of the Raiders.
And
the Raiders, they would probably snatch him up if he's there.
And running backs are getting valued more. And we saw it just a couple of years ago that like running backs weren't getting valued, and you saw like Najee Harris fall all the way into the 20s when he was the best running back in college football.
By far the best running back. I mean, he didn't pan out like that.
No, I know, but in that
right.
college football, yeah.
Right.
And then we start to see Bijan Robinson go at 7. We saw Jahmyr Gibbs go to the Lions early.
Mm-hmm.
And now I think we're going to start to see that a little bit more. When there's a really solid running back, they're going to go early.
This is the first time, I think, since Saquon that there's been a running back projected top 5.
Yeah, I think so.
Which is, I mean,
great. I love
for
that.
Genty to be in that company of a Saquon Barkley, because, I mean, everybody knew that he was going to be the guy when he was coming out of college. But
the other mock draft I have has Tetairoa McMillan in it.
And I really like that too. I think those are two guys, Genty and McMillan, who can go out and really help Trevor Lawrence next year with the kind of a depleted Jacksonville offense from last year.
Yeah, I like the Genty pick more than the McMillan pick just because they have Brian Thomas, and I think they got built around him.
I agree.
Not necessarily with a first rounder.
But that would be Brian Thomas, because they lost Christian Kirk, so Brian Thomas, McMillan, and Gabe Davis would be a pretty solid trio.
That's a really solid trio.
But then you'd be losing value in the backfield. You have Tank Bigsby. Yeah. You have a really banged up Travis Etienne, who has not been great the last 2 seasons, or last season, and you can tell he's kind of regressing a little bit. Yeah. So maybe that's why they want to go out and get Genty. Top 5 is where the draft really starts, I think. If it doesn't start at 2, so I think it's going to be a really cool night of drafting, I think. But moving on to number 6, Bleacher Report has Membu from Missouri going to the Raiders, helping out their quarterback room, helping out Geno Smith, those guys, securing that O-line. And I think it's a good move. I think it'd be great for that guy to go in there, get reps against Max Crosby every day. Any O-tackle that they can get. If Will Campbell falls to them, that would be unreal for that team.
Yep.
And then on Yahoo, they have Ashton Jeanty going to the Raiders. So
that's a popular pick as well.
Very popular pick as well.
For my 2, they actually both have the same. And it's Kelvin Banks Jr. from Texas. He's offensive tackle. And I think that would really help. I think they need a lot as well. And they just got sorry, I can't think of the quarterback they just got.
Geno?
Geno, yes. Because Geno and Pete Carroll, and I know Pete Carroll's going to really want to support his quarterback that he knows. And I think that offensive line, if Genty's off the board, could be really solid.
Yeah, I could also see Pete Carroll. I mean, he's kind of that guy where he likes the flashiness sometimes, I think. Mm-hmm. So I think that's why if a Genty is there,
he's taking it.
He's gone.
Yeah.
I think, and if not, maybe McMillan goes off the board. I wouldn't be shocked with that either.
Oh yeah,
because the Raiders are a team, and everybody forgets this every year, and then it happens. They're a team. I mean, they went out and drafted Cleveland Farrell 4th over. Like they'll just go out and draft anybody. Alex Leatherwood 18th overall when he was projected to go in the 2nd round. Like there's certain things that the Raiders do that most teams don't do because they know it's not smart to do. But it is always interesting to see who the Raiders pick.
Something that I really liked about Genty was his letter that he sent to the teams. And he said, I'm going to shorten it a little bit, just kind of like to the last couple of sentences, but he said, it's tackle football. Why not draft the guy that can't tackle? And I'm like, wow. Like that was amazing. Just loved it. Just had to give that guy a shout out.
Yeah, Ashton Jeanty is definitely one of my favorite prospects. I mean, I see his TikToks all the time. I don't even follow him on TikTok.
He's a goober.
I see him on TikTok all the time, and he was like doing a dance, and he was like excited. It was like excited because my life's about to change in a few days, and like I didn't see it was him. Like I didn't notice it was him.
Yeah.
Because he looks like a normal guy, honestly. And then I checked the name, and I was like, oh my god. I was like wondering why this guy's life was going to change, and then he's going to get drafted top 5 in the NFL. But yeah, Ashton Jeanty's a great guy. Seems like a good dude.
Good locker room guy.
Good locker room guy.
Stayed with Boise State for 4 years. Or 4 years.
You got to love that. I mean, I didn't love how he was kind of, pooping on Green Bay and how there was not much to do.
Yeah, that was...
You went to Boise, man. I mean, I've never been to Boise. I don't know
we don't know,
assuming, and people said they've been to both Boise and Green Bay and say it's pretty similar. So, I don't think he can talk much there. But let's move on now to the New York Jets. Who need a lot of help. On Bleacher Report, they have him taking cornerback Jedi Barron from Texas, one of the top cornerback prospects in the draft, obviously him and Will Johnson. And then the Jets have him, for Yahoo, taking McMillan from Arizona. So helping out that wide receiver room.
Yeah, no, that would be really solid. Both of these mock drafts I have say Tyler Warren.
Kind of shocked by that.
I am too. I didn't think necessarily top 7. I think Tyler Warren's the best tight end in the draft, in my opinion, but
Do you think that the Jets see that the mistake that they made last year, not getting Brock Bowers?
Yeah, I think.
And then going out and getting a guy who people compare to Brock Bowers a lot, Tyler Ward.
And I was really surprised last year when they didn't want to draft Brock Bowers, especially to help out A-Rod, because obviously he was still there.
Right.
But I don't know. I think they don't want to do that again. I think they don't want history to repeat itself. I think Woody's on the hot seat as of many years now. And I think
you need a guy that can go in right away.
Yeah, and
you need a Garrett Wilson type guy. That
exactly.
And he hasn't really panned out for them as much as you wanted either.
Yeah. And big season for head coach Glenn. So I think he's going to want to make a splash, and I think that might be the splash they want.
You want a guy for Fields to throw to as well. I mean, you want your quarterback to be comfortable. You want your guys to be comfortable in any situation. So why not go out and get him somebody to throw to, like a McMillan or a Warren?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I could totally see that now. The more we talk about it. Right here, this is really funny, actually. Yahoo and Bleacher Report both have Carolina taking a edge player from Georgia, but it's two different guys.
Oh, okay.
Jalen Walker, the linebacker, goes to Carolina in the Bleacher Report mock draft, and Michael Williams, the edge, goes to Carolina in the Yahoo mock draft.
Yeah, both these, they both have Jalen Walker. I think Jalen Walker's a stud.
I think so, too.
That kid is an animal.
I like him a little bit better than Michael Williams. I think he's a little more versatile.
I do too.
Because I like how he can drop back in covers a little bit more. But and I think that's exactly what the Panthers need. They need not a Luke Kuechly guy, like a middle linebacker type, but they need that guy that can come off the edge, also drop back in coverage, and just be an overall solid defender, because they have a pretty solid defense, underrated team. They're just young and need to put it together. I think that's the key for them. But
I agree.
I think both of these picks, or whoever it is, I think that could be. Carolina's in a weird spot because I feel like every year they don't need what the majority of the draft needs, unless they're first pick like Bryce Young that one year. But they're always in a different spot than everybody. Like, they need defense when everybody needs offense, or they need offense when everybody needs defense. So it hasn't really worked out for them great so far. Yeah. But moving on now to the New Orleans Saints, who at Bleacher Report, they have Mason Graham going there, the D lineman. And then Shamir Stewart, the edge from Texas A&M. So they have them going with a defensive end. Yeah, what do you got for the Saints?
So for the Saints, I have Michael Williams, and for the CBS, and then we have a projected trade. We have the
projected trade.
Colts are trading up to get Colston Loveland at 9.
And that could be to get in front of the Bears.
And absolutely, because of that, and if they see Warren get off the board, they got to make a move.
They have to make a move,
because
right?
that's their position need. They need the most on offense. Is they need a tight end, because AR, this is his make or break year, and they're gonna put someone in there that's gonna really see if it's his make or break. I mean,
right?
You throw another weapon in there.
You have to know now. Yeah.
You throw a weapon in there, he can't do anything with it. He's got to go.
He's got to go. Yeah, right. Speaking of weapons, the Chicago Bears have a lot of them, and they're waiting to use them this year. But looks like they want to add another one, in my mock drafts at least. Bleacher Report has Tyler Warren, the tight end, going to Chicago.
I would hate that.
You would hate that. And then I think you would equally hate Colston Loveland also being a Chicago Bear. So
yeah, no.
The top two tight ends,
I hope they're
both
gone
getting
by
looks
then.
at the Bears by then. But right, and you're in the one mock draft that you have, they're both gone. So
yeah,
that'd be great. But
well, actually, I might throw up with the CBS one because it says Ashton Genty falls to 10.
Ooh.
And the Bears get him.
Ooh.
If this happens,
you don't want to see that.
We might not have another episode of me talking about the Bears. And then the other one, they would get...
They would be the B word. The B word.
And then on the NFL.com, Armanian Hampton from North Carolina running back. So both of them have a running back. And I love to see what they would do there.
I haven't really thought about running back for them, but it kind of makes sense. Now to the Niners, who another team that doesn't want to be in this spot next year. I don't know if I anticipate them being there. They got a lot of question marks this year.
A lot of question marks.
Kittle sitting out of OTAs, or mini camp or whatever. Brock Purdy was there, which is good for them.
And he's battling a contract, so that's really good for them.
Right? Yeah. But both these mock drafts have them bolstering up their O-line. Yahoo has Will Campbell falling all the way to 11, which is crazy.
That's not going to happen.
To the Niners, which would be a crazy fit. And then Kelvin Banks Jr., who is insane in his own right, interior offensive lineman from Texas, going to the Niners at 11 on Bleacher Report.
Both of these mock drafts have Mason Graham falling all this way. So
that's my guy.
We'll see what happens.
I wouldn't mind that. I mean, any Michigan guy, like, that's the thing for me this year. Will Johnson, Colston Loveland, Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant, those guys, like those top 4 guys, I do not want them anywhere in the AFC. I know that one of them is probably going to be in the AFC East. That's just always how it works out for me.
It's tough.
It's always the Jets get the Ohio State guys, the Patriots get the Michigan guys, and then the guys who don't really want to play football go to Miami.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm really worried about those Michigan players. But it worked out last year for me with the teams. I don't mind.
Blake Corum on the Chargers.
Yeah, or the Rams.
Oh, sorry, the Rams. Sorry.
I don't mind a JJ on the Viking. Like, those guys, I mean, I was glad to see in Roman Wilson on the Steelers. I don't love that. But it's all right. Moving on to the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Which is always a polarizing pick. We're going to see Jerry in his war room again this year. And for mine, they have them going interior offensive line with Gray Zabel from North Dakota State.
Yeah,
so a little FCS action.
He's a dog. They need to fill a big hole. Zach Martin retired, one of the greatest Cowboys ever.
And they have him going in right there and replacing him.
And I totally get that.
Matthew Golden in the Yahoo mock draft, the wide receiver from Texas, staying close to Austin, playing for the Cowboys. That would be just a natural fit.
Yeah, that's a natural fit right there.
It would instantly help Dak, obviously. Golden's a great player. He can go up and get the ball. But I think both of these fits would be great. I think they just need offense. That's really it.
No, definitely offense.
Couldn't score the ball last year.
No, yeah.
They couldn't play defense either, but they almost actually made the playoffs.
Yeah, they almost did.
Which is crazy.
My CBS, they have Matthew Golden, and then the NFL.com, they have Membu falling all the way to 12.
Wow. Yeah, definitely if Membu gets past the 11, past the Niners pick. I'm surprised the Niners didn't take him in that mock, actually.
Well, yeah. Huh? Yeah, that's true.
All right, well, moving on now to Miami, the place where players' love for football goes to die. Defensive lineman Walter Nolan from Ole Miss gets projected there in the Bleacher Report mock draft. And Josh Connerly from the Oregon Ducks going there in the Yahoo mock draft.
Yeah, and both mine, they have Walter Nolan from Ole Miss in the D line, and I think that'd be a good fit. I also think that this could be a draft where they can go and look at corners because Holland's gone.
That's what I'm concerned about. I was just going to touch on that. I'm really concerned they're going to go out and get Will Johnson.
Yeah.
I know they've talked to him. I saw a video of Will Johnson talking to that kid reporter that goes to the draft every year. It's a different kid, I think, this year. He's from Green Bay. But he said something about if you had to put an NFL team in any city and name it whatever you want, like, what would you do? And like, Gene T was like the North Dakota Buffaloes or something like that. And then Will Johnson said the Miami Sharks.
Ooh.
Which really got me concerned because he was like, Miami's a good spot. Didn't love to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they could definitely be looking on defense. I think they should. Yeah, losing corners is always tough, and you got to replace them quick.
Yeah, and with everything going on with Jalen Ramsey, they got a lot to work on.
You just don't know. Yeah, moving on now to the Colts, who is another team with a lot of question marks, but they filled in those holes really well and had a really decent, good offseason, probably the best one.
Yeah, they did have a really solid one.
Probably the best one since Luck's been there.
Yeah, no, I agree.
In my mock drafts, Bleacher Report has them taking a Michigan guy, Colston Loveland, my guy, and then in the Yahoo one, also a Michigan guy, Will Johnson, falling to Indianapolis. So I think two good fits, like we were talking about with the Colts trading up earlier, getting in front of the Bears. It makes sense if they can get up there and get the guy that they want. But if one of them's there, then just stay there. Get who you need. But Will Johnson, I think, is a great consolation prize for them.
Oh, absolutely. In my CBS, they have Colston Loveland as well. And then the NFL, that's where they had the projected trade with the Saints. And so they would have the Saints take Mykal Williams from Georgia. So
and that would be
very solid fit.
Very solid fit there, too. Moving on now to the Atlanta Falcons, who they had them taking Jalen Walker in my Yahoo draft. So
Jalen Walker's
staying close, staying in Georgia. That's always a cool thing when guys stay close. And then this other one, they have him taking another edge, Mike Green, the guy from Marshall. Yeah, so a lot of traction around him in that Sun Belt Conference this year, and he's been a top prospect. And apparently the Falcons are going to be looking at him tonight.
Yeah, I have the Mike Green pick in my CBS, and then in my NFL has Shamar Stewart, the edge from Texas A&M going there.
A lot of great edges this year.
Yeah, and very solid.
It's a lot of schematics. I think that's really what I'm not too keen on, I guess, with the teams this year, especially with all the new coaching changes. Like, I don't know what teams are going to be running. I don't know where certain guys will fit, especially because I don't know the way that the teams are going to play. I don't exactly know how all these players play, too. So it's like, we don't see those fits as well as those teams, obviously.
No, yeah. I mean, they're in the war room for a reason.
You would hope so. You would hope so. Moving on now to the 16th overall pick, which is going to be made by the Arizona Cardinals. And this is where they have Will Johnson going in for Bleacher Report, which is, I think, a very solid option for them. They need a defensive guy. They've always needed a defensive guy ever since Pat Pete left. And this could be their guy.
Yeah, definitely.
And Yahoo has them taking Derek Harmon, the D tackle from Oregon. So bolstering that defense once again.
That's very solid. In my CBS, they have Armand Membu falling all the way here, which that would be crazy. Because Membu's really solid, and having him at 16 would be a robbery.
So he's gone all the way from 4 to 16.
16, yeah.
Wow.
And then in my NFL.com, they have Tyler Booker from Alabama, and Booker's an absolute dog. So
I agree. And speaking about Tyler Booker, with the next pick for Bleacher Report, they have the Bengals taking him. I don't necessarily agree with that as much as I agree with Yahoo's pick of Mike Green going to Cincinnati. Obviously, Mike Green was off the board in the other one.
Yeah.
But I think they need an edge. I think the Bengals
100%.
are one of those teams that they might need to give up a pick or two just to get into the top 13, 14, to guarantee themselves one of those top 5 edges in the draft. I don't know, obviously, if a Mike Green's going to be there. If he is, that's perfect for them. It falls right into their lap. But especially with Trey Hendrickson being gone, they need help on defense.
Bad.
They had the worst defense in the league last year. If they don't draft defense, I don't know what they're doing.
I don't either.
I don't know.
So in both my mock drafts, they do have. Actually, they don't have both defense. So in my first one, they have James Pierce Jr. from Tennessee. He's an edge guy, very solid. And in my NFL.com, they have Gray Zabel, the North Dakota guy. So
I don't know how I feel about those.
I don't know. They're kind of mid picks, right?
It might be the first time that we've had 4 different guys.
I know, yeah. We're getting deep. We're getting deep.
We are getting deep. We're getting to the 18th pick now, which is very interesting fit here. And I kind of want to maybe talk about this a little bit, how this would fit. Bleacher Report has the Seahawks taking McMillan from
I have
Arizona.
that in one of mine as well.
And I haven't thought about that, but that would instantly make that offense one of the best in the league. I'm not going to lie.
If McMillan falls at 18 or 17 and the Packers don't trade up, I don't know what we're doing.
I mean, the fact that they lost, 2 guys who have been there so long, Lockett and DK Metcalf, and replaced them, if they get McMillan so quickly
with 2
with
young
JSN,
studs.
Bringing in Cooper Kupp, bringing in Marquez Valdez-Scantling this year, if they can add McMillan to that with Kenneth Walker in the backfield, your guy, and adding in Sam Darnold again, with that new coaching staff, with that defense that was really, really good last year and banged up too, that Seahawks team could be competing for the division next year.
Yeah, absolutely they could. I think it's more open. That division might be more open than everybody realizes.
Really excited for the NFC West next year. It's going to hopefully be kind of like the NFC North a little bit this year, that race. But in the Yahoo draft, they have them taking Greg Zabel from North Dakota State, helping out that O-line, helping out Sam Darnold. I don't think that's a bad pick either.
Not a bad pick, yeah.
But I think offense is where they need to go.
Yeah, no, I agree.
In my opinion.
So in my CBS, they have Nick Emenwari, and he's a safety from South Carolina. And then my other one, like I said, they get McMillan. So we'll see what happens with Seattle. A lot of question marks for what they will do, but we'll see what happens.
Right. Moving on now to the 19th pick, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We're getting into the playoff teams now. So Shamir Stewart, they have going to the Bucs at 19, and he's falling a lot in some drafts, and I don't really know why. But Bucs have him there. And then Jahad Campbell, the linebacker from Alabama, going to the Bucs. So they have them going with the front 7 guy. And I agree. I think they've lost so many guys over the last few years to injury or just retirement. Ever since that Super Bowl team, which had an amazing front 7.
Unreal.
They kind of got to revamp that now. They've done a great job of retaining their young guys from that Super Bowl team. And Chris Godwin and Mike Evans and those kind of guys, and Baker, and keeping them there. But going out and getting one of these front 7 guys would be great for Tampa.
Yeah, in my CBS they have Jahad Campbell, which I completely think that's a great pick. And then in my other one they have Jahdae Barron going, and He's a cornerback from Texas, which he's solid.
I don't agree, but he's a great player.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a great fit.
But the fit's not there.
Yeah.
The fit that they need is someone on the front seven.
Right.
And that's why I like the Jahad Campbell pick a lot.
Especially linebacker. Yeah, that's why I agree with you. I think Campbell would be their best pick. That just seems like a Bucs pick. I don't know why.
It does.
Jahad Campbell, yeah. I can picture him in a Bucs uniform.
He just looks, when you say the name, you can think of a Buck.
Yeah, right. Wow, I have a trade in my Bleacher Report one.
Okay, here we go.
Cleveland Browns trade up.
Wow.
Via the Denver Broncos to 20.
Okay.
And they draft Shedeur Sanders from Colorado.
Okay.
So then they'd end up with Travis and Shedeur.
Wow, okay.
Wow.
I can see that.
Wow. What a move that would be. Both of them getting their jersey numbers retired. First of all, what do you think about that?
I think it's BS. I think there's a lot
of... coming from the Buffs fan.
I think there's a lot of legends in Colorado Buffalo uniform that won a national championship that don't have their jersey retired, and it's been 30 years.
I agree with Travis Hunter.
I agree with Travis Hunter. I mean, that you get a Heisman.
Won the Heisman.
You get your jersey retired. I just think it's too soon. I would love for them to get their jerseys retired. Wait 2 years or something. I mean,
wait till he's established in the league.
Yeah. I mean,
Shedeur, though.
No, that one's just. I love Shedeur like anybody on this planet, but I don't know. I don't know. I mean,
it just makes no sense.
It's just because I was watching. I forgot who was by. It might have been by Joe Klatt, and Joe Klatt went to Colorado, and he was saying 5 or 6 guys that were on the national.
Joe Klatt was a way better quarterback than Shedeur too.
Yeah, I mean, and he was giving 5 or 6 names of national champions that don't have their jersey retired. So, I like the Travis. I just wish they waited a little longer, and then like Shedeur, if they were to retire his number, should have been like 10 years down the road.
Right. And then in the Yahoo one, that would be such an interesting pick. That would be crazy. The Yahoo one, they had the Broncos staying and taking Tyler Warren, which I think is
if he falls to 20, that's unreal.
Which I think is crazy for that offense with Bo Nix, how Tyler Warren and Bo Nix could be teammates next year. But they also did just sign Evan Ingram, which I think is pretty interesting that they have him going
I thought they were just gonna skip on free agency, go get a young guy for Bo Nix, but I do like the Evan Ingram signing. We'll see what they do.
I mean, Evan Ingram's not a guy that's going to stop you from drafting Tyler Warren.
Though. No, yeah, I know, yeah.
Absolutely. Evan Ingram would be there for, what, 2 years? Warren could be there for 8, 10. I mean, you got to think about that long-term plan.
For my 2, they have Emeka Egbuka from Ohio State for the Broncos at 20, and the other one, they have Trayvon Henderson from Ohio State running back. And both those very solid, very, very solid fits.
Yeah, team. I think the Broncos, I mean, obviously their wide receivers are pretty loaded right now. Obviously quarterback, they're doing really well. Defensively, one of the best defenses, if not the best defense in the league last year, with the Defensive Player of the Year on the team. I think going out and getting a tight end running back, that's their best options for this draft for their first 2 picks. Maybe go out, bolster that O-line. It never hurts. Never hurts to go out and draft a good O-lineman, in my opinion, especially if you know that they're going to be good. So watching that team in the playoff game last year, like, you could see, unfortunately, it was a lot of a different feel from that Colts game that we played very closely with Phillip Rivers at quarterback, and it was that 2-7 matchup. Like, we felt like we were going to win, right? But we knew that the Colts were kind of, I don't want to say in the downturn, but they just had a good year.
Yeah.
The Broncos are one of those teams we can tell they're going to be
on the up.
On the up. They're going to be in contention
100%.
For the next few years. Hopefully, with the Bills, Chiefs, Ravens, and Bengals, they're going to be that 5th team in there. That's going to be pretty exciting.
I would hope so. I'm
pretty exciting.
Big fan of the Colts. Big fan. Now, we're going on to Pittsburgh, and both of mine, they have Shedeur Sanders going, which I think the more and more as we go, we went all the way from Shedeur going to the Giants, and now it's only the Steelers.
Yeah, I have him at the Steelers for my Yahoo one.
Yeah.
So,
but the other one, you had the trade. So, what was that? The one where you had the trade in?
The
Cleveland trade.
Oh, the Cleveland trade?
Who takes... who do the Steelers pick in that one?
That also is a trade.
Oh, so, okay, yeah.
New Orleans would trade with the Steelers and get Jackson Dart.
Okay, so let me ask you.
Pretty interesting right there.
Let me ask you. You think Jackson Dart's a first-round pick?
Yes. I think so. I think he's a... Okay, no. I don't. I think he's a first-round talent.
Yeah, first-round talent, but
he's a first-round talent, but I think he's the kind of guy where he'll get lost in the positional kind of rankings, and then I think he'll go to a team like the Giants in the second round.
Yeah, or Cleveland.
Early in the second,
what I was thinking,
or Cleveland,
too.
Right, in the second round. I don't think any
Will
team...
Levis a couple of years ago.
Right. I think a team like New Orleans makes sense to go up and maybe get him in the late first. Maybe one of those teams that we're just not expecting, but a team like Cleveland, a team like New York, I could see even the Raiders going out and getting him in the second round just to back up Geno for the next 2 years or whatever. But yeah, I think that'd be really interesting. I think he is a first round talent, but I don't think he's a first round pick.
Yeah, no, you could have said it better. We're gonna go on to the Chargers now.
Yeah, this is gonna be really interesting in the Bleacher Report one for me, and I think this is very possible. Obviously, a lot of Michigan connections with the Chargers. Jim Harbaugh being there now. They have them going out and getting Kenneth Grant from Michigan, D lineman. I really don't like that pick because I want him to follow the Bills selfishly. And then on the other side of that, they have the Rams trading with the Chargers into that pick, that 22, and getting Kelvin Banks from Texas, the O-lineman.
Stud.
That would be an amazing fit for them, especially because they have a good O-line right now and a really decent O-line that's protecting an older Matt Stafford. But ever since Whitworth left after that Super Bowl win, they haven't had that tackle that's really been out there and really been that dominant force.
Yeah.
So,
and both of mine, I have the Chargers going out and getting Kenneth Grant. And I think I kind of like the pick with Kenneth Grant. I think their defense needs help, and I think that Kenneth Grant is one of those guys who can change the whole dynamic of a defense in 1 year.
I agree. I agree, and I think if he goes to the Chargers, that would for sure help. It's just weird that they have the. I think it's so funny when teams in the same city trade, when they have the Rams trade into the Chargers. But yeah, I think Kenneth Grant's a perfect fit. And he's actually with the next pick with the Green Bay. They have Kenneth Grant going there for Yahoo. So what would you think about that? And then in the other one, they have Derek Harmon from Oregon, also the D lineman, going there. So are you guys sold on the D lineman spot?
I don't want to. I don't want to. That's not my main worry. I think if I go to bed happy tonight, this is what we did.
Who do the other mock drafts having?
We have Will Johnson, cornerback from Michigan. You know Will Johnson pretty well. And the other one, they have Matthew Golden. So
very drastic picks here.
With both of those, love them. Love those picks. But I got to say, I'm not going to bed happy tonight. I want a cornerback or a wide receiver, and if it's anything else, I'll still be happy.
So you want Travis Hunter?
Well, he did have he had an interview saying he loves Green Bay. He did say that.
There you go.
We might have to trade up to 2, I guess.
There you
go. Anyways, yeah, I just want a cornerback or a wide receiver. I mean, Travis would be really nice. But
totally fair.
I mean, I just think those are our biggest holes in our team. And what do you do in a draft? First round, you plug in the biggest hole.
Yep.
And I think second round, third round, then we start talking D-line. Then we start getting an O-line. And then we start and then we go around, but first round, that's where you first and second, go fill your main gaps you got to fill. And it's cornerback and it's wide receiver. And I would love for the first time in my lifetime to watch a wide receiver get drafted in the first round. I would love that. I really would.
That'd be pretty if Golden is there, that'd be a great fit.
Yeah.
And just interesting to see if the Packers would be aggressive enough to go out and make that move.
Yeah. I mean, I've never seen that. I've never seen a wide receiver drafted in the first round. And the last cornerback I watched get drafted in the first round was Eric Stokes. So, let's go Green Bay. Get your together and go get the guy. Go get the guy.
Go get him.
That's all I got to say.
Go get him. That's the word of the day. Go get him. Line of the day. Go get him. Vikings here at 24. Team you don't love.
No. And they've had such a good offseason. It's actually unreal.
They do, and they need secondary help. They went out and addressed it, but they still need a little bit of reinforcements in there. This Bleacher Report mock draft they have going out and getting safety Malachi Starks from Georgia, which I think is a great fit for them.
Very
and then
solid.
in the Yahoo one, going out and getting Siobhan Ravel Jr. from East Carolina.
He's a star.
Corner. So, yeah, he's really flown up draft boards, and I think staying in the purple and gold would be really cool for him. But yeah, he's the third best corner on the draft board for some guys.
Yeah.
And I think rightfully so. And I think the Vikings need secondary help. Both those guys would fit well. Yeah.
Yeah. For mine, they have Tyler Booker, interior lineman for Alabama.
If he falls there, I
would hate it. Honestly, if he falls to 23, I would not mind picking up Tyler Booker. If there's a prospect,
be back-to-back all linemen, but do you be protecting Jay Love?
But that's the thing is as we had some guys regress at the wide receiver and then the corner. That's why I said that. And those are the two biggest holes. But if there's a crazy prospect at 23, I am completely okay with going out and getting him.
Gotta be.
I mean, Tyler Booker, or if Kenneth Grant, and like, yeah, maybe. But like if someone like Jahad Campbell, like someone random, Membu maybe, because they haven't fallen a lot.
Membu.
But like, if there's some crazy like prospect and he's on our hands, I wouldn't mind picking him. But yeah, Tyler Booker, and then the other one they have Maxwell Harrison, and I think that's a pretty decent pick because they need the corner, so they need help,
secondary help.
Yeah, secondary help, and we'll see what they do.
Yeah, this is where it kind of gets a little bit, positional. It always does in the 20s, but I think this is one of the years where I think that 16 to 24 range is going to be really fun.
Yeah, I do.
As it always is. But 25, they have the Houston Texans. For Bleacher Report, going out and getting an O-lineman, O-tackle Josh Connerly from Oregon, who we've talked about a little bit.
Yeah.
On the flip side, at 25 on Yahoo, they have Josh Simmons from Ohio State, the O-tackle, going there. So obviously,
gotta protect CJ Stroud.
Stroud, and especially with how deteriorated that O-line has been the last few years. You got to go out and get somebody and protect your guy. That's it.
I agree. And both these mock drafts I have in front of me, they both have going out and getting guards / centers, interior O-line, and Donovan Jackson. They both have Donovan Jackson from Ohio State.
Totally need that.
And I think their main goal is to find a lineman that can protect your franchise QB. I
think going out and getting one of those Ohio State guys would be obviously a better fit with Stroud.
Absolutely.
Create a connection right away.
Yeah.
And it's kind of crazy last year how Joe Mixon had such a good year with such a kind of a bad offensive line. If they can just go out and get one more guy to be a pulling guard, to be just that guy on the edge to seal the edge for the running back, that's what they need. And that could be really help you win one or two games with, if you really think about it, Joe Mixon can break one run, score a touchdown. That could change your season right there. So going out and getting that guy is very important. And 26, this is where they have the Chargers flipping with the Rams and going out and getting Mason Taylor, who they also had on Yahoo. And then they also have Mason Taylor going to the Rams on the Bleacher Report one. So both LA teams, I guess, in this scenario, going out and getting the consensus number 3 tight end
from LSU,
from LSU, Mason Taylor, who is going to be
so solid. I think he's going to be really good in the league.
I think so too. I think he's going to be just as good as Colston Loveland, probably around there.
I think so too.
Even though I love Colston Loveland, he's a great possession guy, Mason Taylor.
Yeah.
Just like Tyler Warren, but he's a little bit bigger, but he's going to be a solid player either way. Both these teams in LA apparently need a tight end, and I could see it. So.
And my CBS, they have Maxwell Hairston going there. I just talked about him a couple minutes ago. And then in the NFL.com, they have Jahad Campbell dropping all the way to 26 to go to the Rams.
Wow.
Which, if that happens, him and Jared Verse, I would be terrified to line up. I'd be terrified to line up against them.
Yeah, it's a crazy defense, especially how young they are, and how well they're going to be. The Rams are low-key a really young team.
Yeah.
And they're developing really well.
They are.
They're rallying around their quarterback. That's really the one thing that I'm concerned about them for the future. They have the coach. They have the wide receiver. Yeah. They have the running backs. They got everything. They got the defense for it. They need that quarterback for the future, and they just don't have that right now.
Yeah.
That could happen instantly, and we know that.
Yeah.
But it's a big question mark still.
Hey, they have Stetson Bennett.
How old? I mean, he's just as old as Matt Stafford.
Probably.
I think, so I don't think that's going to help them in 2 years. But moving on now to the last few picks of this first round. Baltimore at 27. Yahoo has them going out and getting Tyler Booker, and I think that's a pretty straightforward pick. I mean, solidifying the O-line, always a good thing, especially when you got such a good run game with Lamar and Derrick Henry.
Yep.
And then in this one, they have them going out and getting Izaraku from Boston College. Edge guy. So I think that could be a good fit as well for Baltimore, because they're always looking to get that guy off the edge, especially with how old their defensive line has been the last few years.
No, yeah. And the two that I have in front of me, CBS has Malachi Starks from Georgia, and then the other one they have Derek Harmon from Oregon, trying to plug in that D line. So both those are pretty scary picks for Baltimore, because they could be instant threats to other teams in the league.
Oh, yeah, obviously. Now we're getting into the last divisional team that got out, the best divisional team that got out, the Detroit Lions, picking at 28, which is their second longest pick they've had to wait for. Last year was the longest, and now this year it's a little bit earlier. Not as early as they're used to, though, in Detroit.
Nope.
But, and Yahoo, they've been going out and getting Donovan Jackson, the interior offensive lineman from Ohio State, which is a great pick.
Oh, yeah.
That would always help next to, Penei Sewell. And they have a great O-line.
They do.
Great O-line.
They do.
But I agree more with Bleacher Report going out and getting edge Michael Williams from Georgia. They need defense.
Yeah.
I mean, just alone at the game that I was at last year, they had 2 defensive players go down. That was already before or after they had, all these guys go out, and then they had Brian Branch go out later in the season.
Yeah.
Melifonwu got hurt too. You just need to bolster that defense, especially with Aaron Glenn being gone too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Got to make sure you have the pieces to plug in there and just be successful. Detroit's gonna have a really tough season next year, losing both their coordinators.
Yeah, no,
Dan Campbell's gonna have to carry the load.
It's gonna be a big season for them to see how they can do.
It's gonna be a great season to see if Dan Campbell's actually. I think he's a great coach.
Yeah, but to prove it season.
Yeah, right. And I think he's gonna take that and run with it.
Yeah.
I've no doubt that the Lions are gonna be good next year, but
they're gonna be good.
I think that going out in defense would just help them a little bit more than going out and getting an O lineman.
Yeah, and the CBS, they're getting Gray Zabel in this, and I would hate that a lot, but this next one I would hate more. In the NFL.com, it says Mike Green.
Ooh.
And that would just
what a fit that would be.
That would hurt me so bad.
Wow, Mike. I mean, yeah, Mike Green. I really like him, but I think it's so weird how he's so fluctuated over the board. Where
it's kind of crazy.
So, and I think that might be because of where he went, but whatever.
Yeah.
Moving on now to the conference championships.
Yep.
Now.
Yep.
29th overall, the Washington Commanders. Who would have thought that the Washington Commanders, after picking 2nd overall,
crazy
the season before, that 2nd overall pick would make them be the 29th overall pick.
Unreal.
And for Bleacher Report, they have Matthew Golden still on the board. Going to Washington, what a pick that would be.
That'd be unreal.
And then another scary pick, Amarion Hampton, the running back from UNC.
Wow.
Going to Washington at 29 in the Yahoo mock draft, which the first time I've seen Hampton in a first-round mock, at least, but very good pick nonetheless.
No, yeah. And the 2 that I have, they have Shamar Stewart from Texas A&M. We talked about him a little bit. And then in my NFL.com, they have Trayvon Henderson. And I think that's a good fit, too.
I think so, too. I think that's – I personally, I know Hampton's a really hard runner. I know he had a ton of yards last year. But I think that Trayvon Henderson is a great player.
Yeah.
So, I think that he's a better running back than Hampton. So, if I was between the two, probably go with Henderson. I know he's an Ohio State guy. But there's a lot of good Ohio State prospects this year. So
there is.
You can't deny
national
that.
champions.
You cannot deny that.
Moving on. Number 30.
Moving on to the number 30 team, who they're going to be picking during the Clippers game tonight. So I'm going to have to be.
It's gonna be tough.
I don't know what I'm going to do. Hopefully it's during halftime.
Yeah, that'd be nice. That'd be nice.
But really like this pick from Bleacher Report.
Okay.
This is one of the guys that I've been looking at. Benjamin Morrison from Notre Dame, corner. We need corner help. Just brought back Trey White. That could be. I mean, I'm so excited for that. You don't even know. But bringing in a guy like Trey White, we know he doesn't need to play this year. I mean, he can be on the practice squad. He can be that 5th corner for us. But getting a young guy and getting rid of Kyrie Elam and great.
Yeah.
Bringing Morrison in would really help. Benford, White, all those guys would teach him really well. I think that'd be a great fit. On the other side here for Yahoo, they have us taking Tyleek Williams from Ohio State. Don't love that. Just because I don't really want another defensive lineman unless it's Kenneth Grant.
Yeah.
Because he's a Michigan guy. But
I
wouldn't mind it. But going out and getting the D line always helps. We've proved that drafting a D lineman early helps at Oliver, Rousseau, Epineza. It goes to show signing guys going out and getting. Yeah, right. So both those picks I think would work out pretty well for us and fit well.
No, yeah, absolutely. On the CBS, they have Jahdae Barron going, and from Texas, very, very, very solid pick there. I think you would probably like that.
I would like that a lot.
And then the Buffalo Bills, being the Buffalo Bills, they're projecting a trade out of the first round in the NFL.com with the New Orleans Saints, and they'd be picking Jackson Dart.
I mean, okay.
I think it's a good possibility.
I wouldn't be mad if we trade out. Like I just won't be mad depending on the deal.
You guys also have 2 second-round picks.
Right. So
I don't think you guys necessarily...
I'm also thinking, what if, and one of my craziest predictions I've ever made is it was not on air, and it came true. Do you remember this? 2 years ago, It was the day of the draft, and I go, hey, I think that the Texans have enough assets to go up there and trade with the Cardinals and get the second and third pick. And they went up and got Will Anderson and drafted C.J. Stroud right after Caleb Williams got picked.
That was unreal.
Or not Caleb Williams.
Bryce Young.
Bryce Young got picked. Right. So that was like my craziest prediction. And then it happened. That was just like, what team goes up and gets the second and third pick?
Yeah.
I think that with the Bills, you just reminded me, having 2 second-round picks, we could be a team that jumps into that 16 range. If we see a guy that we, like an edge guy, if we want to go after a D-line, if we want that guy, Stewart from A&M, if we want to go up and get a guy like him, probably going to have to trade to 18 to get him, or 20, you know.
So you have the picks to cover it, though.
And I think we have the picks to cover it. I wouldn't mind staying with 2 picks in the second round. I also wouldn't mind having 3 picks in the second round if we can get more assets for the future.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It's all give and take. Too. I like the way that we're built right now, and I feel like we're in a good spot no matter what we do tonight. But obviously, going out and filling the corner spots, the safety spots would be preferable for me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. We'll go on to the Super Bowl runner-up Kansas City Chiefs. And in the CBS, they have Josh Simmons, offensive tackle for Ohio State. And then in the they have the same thing in the NFL.com.
Yeah, so I have that for Bleacher Report as well, Josh Simmons. I mean, that would just give me another reason to hate this guy. So I'd be fine with it, I guess. I think he's a great O tackle, and I would take him on my team. But I'd be just as fine having him on a different team. So and then in the Yahoo one, they have Malachi Starks from Georgia. Going there to safety, and that would be an instant. Just steal, I guess. I don't know. Just instant impact. I got a guy from that would impact the Chiefs. Another one of those guys, like an Isaiah Pacheco, that comes in right away and just makes an impact. Or like a Trent McDuffie. But now we'll move on to the Super Bowl champions, the last pick in the first round.
Yep.
And wow, I want you to say yours first, because there's some crazy picks here for the Eagles.
On CBS, it says Donovan Eziraku from Boston College, the guy we were just mentioning earlier, which would be a great steal for 32.
Would be.
And then for the NFL.com, they have Josh Connery Jr., and that would also be really well. So, I mean, they know what they need.
Getting him at the end of the first would be pretty solid, too.
So they need the edge, they need the O-line. I mean, and then they're Super Bowl champs. They just got to keep plugging in pieces. So that's the 2 I got.
Why I was kind of shocked with this one. Yahoo has Walter Nolan, the D tackle from Ole Miss, going there. Not too much of a shock. Bet you if Malachi Starks is there, the safety, I bet you they take
Oh, my God, it's Georgia, yeah.
Another Georgia guy. Yeah. But in the Bleacher Report one, they have Emeka Egbuka, the wide receiver from Ohio State. And imagine that fit on that offense.
I don't want to imagine it. I really
how
don't.
Explosive they were last year to how more explosive they would be this year.
I love Egbuka in a Green Bay uniform, too.
So that would be very solid. That's going to be a guy that goes probably first 5 picks, 10 picks of the second round.
Yeah.
If he gets past the first round. But this is going to be a great first round.
It really is.
Great draft overall. Amazing prospect pool, I'm not going to lie.
No, I mean, I think it's just so diverse and well-rounded, where I don't think we've seen a more well-rounded like draft class than this in a while.
Yeah, I think since 2018, this might be and obviously 2018 had all the stars. I think this one's less of a star-studded draft. Obviously, you have the names like Travis Hunter, Cam Ward, Shadur, Abdul Carter. You have those names, but I think you have more solid guys who will be in the league for longer, like a Kenneth Grant, like a Colston Loveland, like a Tyler Warren, like those kind of guys. You know, like a Stewart. You know, like a the guy from Boston, like those kind of guys.
Izaraku.
They'll come in there. They'll be the solid guys that are going to be on your team for 6, 7 years, 8 years.
I mean, I definitely, I think it's not star
draft.
power, but it's role guys. It's guys that are going to make the difference that aren't necessarily on the stat sheet.
It was kind of like if you're anybody's familiar that's listening is familiar with the NBA draft from like 2 years ago. That's all it is. It's all guys who are the second, third options on their team. Very solid players, but that's all they are. That's it. But I think that's kind of the trend for this NFL draft, and I think it's going to be a good night of sports overall.
Oh, yeah.
And a good night for drafting.
Yeah, playoffs and NBA, NHL, NFL draft. Can't get much better than this.
If you had to pick one, guy that's projected to go in the top to fall, not a Shadur, guy like that, maybe not fall like super far, but who are you going with?
I could see Tyler Warren dropping a little bit. I just think
that
tight ends get slept on a lot in the NFL draft, and I could see him falling to 12, 14, probably 14, honestly.
There's always one guy that falls, further than everybody thinks.
Yeah.
I honestly think this year it might be Will Johnson.
Oh, really?
I think it might be. I think that teams are going to be looking at those edges very closely and seeing how competitive that market is.
Yeah.
And knowing that after, I'm blanking on his name, but the corner from Texas, once he goes off the board, probably going first, whoever goes first, I think one of those other corners falls and doesn't get picked for a while. So
yeah.
That's my prediction right there. But
We'll
should be a good night. And as always, if you guys have not followed our Bonaventure Sports Insider stuff, it is on Instagram.
Bonaventure _sports_insider.
And as well as our own Instagram.
At Out of Bounds Podcast with a dot in between every single word.
Yes, it is. As always, thank you guys for listening. Gav, you got anything?
Enjoy the draft. Get your popcorn and beverages. Be patient, because you gotta be up till midnight. It's just how it works.
Yep. Maybe take a nap.
Take a nap today.
I don't know when this is gonna get out, but maybe take a nap.
Take a 20-minute cat nap.
Yep.
That's all you need.
All right. Yep. All right. Have a day.
Have a day.